get the feeling that someone is on a giant wind-up with this whole net zero madness that we're afflicted with in this day and age. We're told not to fly, not to use washing machines, not to drive, not to own wood-burning stoves, and to change over all of our energy sources to renewables, if necessary, by facing fines if we don't. But they never talk about the cost, do they? And I'm not just talking about the eco-zealots and the climate nutters out there. I'm talking about the politicians selling this nightmare to us all. Labour said they would spend £28 billion a year on renewable energy. They say they want to decarbonise the electricity network by 2030. The Tories famously wanted to get rid of all petrol and diesel cars by the same date. But now they've actually looked at the details and the cost. They've realised it can't be done. But here's something that even I didn't know. This government has been handing out millions of pounds to schools so that they can replace traditional electricity and gas heating systems with the dreaded heat pump. Trouble is, of course, they don't work. Well, I could have told them that. Kingsnorth Primary School in Ashford in Kent has been forced to close for the 6th time in 3 months because they have no electricity thanks to the useless heat pump system installed last summer as part of an initiative to help schools cut their carbon footprint. Exasperated parents are furious that they have to keep finding childcare because the school is incapable of feeding the kids or looking after them. Incredibly, it all went wrong when the Akia Diocese of Canterbury Academies Trust, which runs 16 schools in Kent, commissioned 4 of the heat pumps as part of the, wait for it, government's public sector decarbonisation scheme. It cost us, the taxpayers, £358,000. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, which you can find inside the school kitchen, of course, now that it's that cold. Another £1 million went to systems at 3 other schools in the county, all of which have suffered teething problems since the beginning. What an utter betrayal of the children and their parents, who were never asked if decarbonisation was something they wanted above education. The school trust apologised for the closures and promised to rectify this ludicrous situation. Here's what they said. We apologise for the inconvenience and disruption caused to pupils and families. Our priority has always been to keep Kingsnorth open, but there have been occasions where we have had no choice but to close due to a complete failure of the heating system, electrical power issues and the associated wider safety concerns. They say they've got engineers on site fixing the problem and that, you've guessed it, they're planning to install, in their words, an additional power source this week. Brilliant. So the government decarbonisation plan now includes a diesel generator. You literally couldn't make it up, because that is the world of work. I mean, I've got to get your response to that ridiculous situation. I mean, if they're doing it in Kent, they're literally about 1.3 million in 4 schools. Some of them has paid 500,000 for these heat pumps, and they don't work.
It's unbelievable.
It's incredible.
And it's another example of top-down solution, isn't it? Look, I'm not against clean energy per se, or decarbonisation, but once you have these schemes and this addiction to a particular type of technology selected by some centralised bureaucrat or politician, these sort of disasters inevitably follow.
Shocking, isn't it?
It would be laughable. I think it almost is laughable, apart from the fact that those kids are now not in school again, and they've missed maybe weeks and months of their schooling from the pandemic. Maybe some of them haven't even returned to school. We know 140,000 kids haven't come back to school after the pandemic. They're out more than they're in. And yet there's here more days that they're missing because of some policy which could be avoided. And education is what they're near.
And now they're
loving it.
Well, they might be.
They may be right then.
They love it.
But you know you fall behind in your academic
the parents aren't loving it, right?
Oh, well, that's,
the parents are having to take time off school, and now there's diesel generators, you know, making the atmosphere worse. Everybody's dying of pollution. It's a shocking state of affairs.